Welcome all of you joining us, talking Southwestern University Athletics alongside head track and field coach Andrew Diehl. I'm McConnico. Pirates, well, it's going to be a busy 2 weeks. They're headed down to San Antonio, the Incarnate Word University Cardinal Spring Break Classic. That'll be this Thursday. Then the following week for, actual spring break, they will be headed down to Alabama to Gulf Shores. Coach, first and foremost, let's go in chronological order and talk about your meet coming up this week down in the Alamo City.
Yeah, just a small group. We're taking primarily throwers, a couple jumpers to compete this Thursday. And, for us, from a training perspective, the meet goes Thursday and Friday. But knowing that we've been really cranking on it with workouts and kind of feeling, at this point in the season, pretty tired physically, just take our throwers, take a couple jumpers, and then give them a little downtime before we head off to spring break and hopefully get some really nice weather in Gulf Shores to run really fast.
Yeah, hopefully get some better weather than what we've been having here in Central Texas. That won't be hard to beat, unfortunately. But headed down to Alabama. I know this is a big trip. I know all of your runners, all your throwers looking forward to this, not just for spring break. But as you said, it's nice for them to get away, get a break from their academics, obviously so rigorous here at Southwestern, and get to focus on their events for at least a few days.
Yeah, for sure. One of the best things in some ways about our sport is that if you're making a run at the national championships or different things like that, the national championships aren't until Memorial Day weekend, and we benefit from that in a lot of ways. Obviously, we have nicer weather than up north, and that's really what they're waiting for, is to get some weather to run outdoors in. But it's no secret, our cross-country team to the track team, when we are able to kind of get away, get a break from classes and just focus on our event, our sport, our performances are better. Now, hopefully that happens next week. You can never account for that for sure. But fall break for the cross-country team, we had great performances. And last year on spring break, when we went down to this meet last year, this weekend or this Thursday, we had our best performances of the year up to that point. The weather's going to continue to get better and that sort of stuff, but give the team a little time to decompress. Hopefully they'll be able to enjoy some of the time there outside of practice and things like that. But we are going for performance, so in some ways it is a business trip. We're hoping to see some out-of-region competition. We'll see Calvin from Michigan. It's a very good program. Their distance runners are phenomenal. I'd be shocked if they didn't have anybody competing this past weekend at the D3 Indoor National Championships. So definitely some good people, some good competition. But in addition to that, just kind of the camaraderie that comes of a trip like this, the growth of hanging out with your teammates and being in condos and making the memories. I think that's kind of the bigger overarching theme of it. If we can do that and have some good performances, it'll be a great trip.
Absolutely. You mentioned the Indoor National Championships. Is this something you encourage your athletes to watch, and specifically to watch the people that compete in their event?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. It's hard for a lot of our kids to relate. And outside of the field events, it's almost completely different events. The strategy in a 200 and a 400 is completely different than on an open oval, outdoors. Typically being on a 200-meter track, sometimes it's a 200-meter flat track for nationals, sometimes it's a 200-meter bank track. They haven't ventured up to the oversized 300-meter tracks that are available. But it's one of those things that I do encourage them to watch, to see who they're competing against, but also knowing that nationally it gets more competitive for outdoor. And part of that is because a lot of teams in the South don't compete in a full indoor season. We're fortunate that we can start training outdoors in January. You can't say that for teams in Wisconsin, Illinois, Ohio, that sort of thing. But, our goal is, we talk more about what happened last year and the descending order list from last year than we do indoors, just because it's hard to compare. We don't run that many 60-meter dashes. We don't run that many distance medley relays or things like that. But definitely encourage them, especially knowing that TLU had a few athletes go that were All-American that we'll see a few times and some things like that. Like, know that we want to be at that level, and that's the goal. That's the end goal. But we got to focus on the process to get us there.
Yeah, the process, that'll be down in the Alamo City this weekend, the Cardinal Spring Break Classic. And then next week, headed to spring break down in lovely Gulf Shores, Alabama. Coach, be safe in your travels and good luck to you.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.